Otose Miyu. This is a singer who I've never heard before, but I am very excited to check out. And you might be thinking, why, Howard? Why are you so excited about this one singer? And why do you have a copy of her CD if you've never heard her before? And lots of special edition niceties. Why do you have all of these things, Howard? I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you why I'm so excited about this. This is a singer who has been recommended to me by a guitarist friend who's also a follower in my community, Andy. And Andy and I worked together on the song Keep Going. Now, this was a music video that I did with, two of my favorite singers from Japan, Otto from Candid and ASSUN from Castella Park. And we worked on this video together. And to be honest, it was such a pleasure to work with Andy because I wanted to have, as much as I do the songwriting and everything, I wanted to have a guitarist with me who was like really competent, knew his stuff. And from all the things that we'd done in the community together, I was just aware he was the guy to talk to. And, we've talked so much about music and he's just like, I just know he's a solid guy. And so when he said, hey, Howard, can you pick up a copy of this for me? I was like, sure thing. So I got this here. It's waiting to be posted out. It's been waiting a while. Oh, I got so much stuff to post to followers. But basically, yeah, that's been sitting there looking at me for a little while, waiting in the outbox to go out. And so when he mentioned about this, I saw the name and I was like, it's her. And he was like, Howard, do you want to check this out on your Twitch stream or do you want to do a video about it? And I thought, I want to do a video about this. This lady, she has got 2,160 subscribers at the current moment, which means she's got less than this channel, which is frankly criminal. Any musician who has less subscribers than this channel, go sort it out for me. So after we've heard this song, remember, hopefully you already subscribed to me, but go subscribe to her as well if you enjoy it to make sure that she gets her numbers up because boy, oh boy, she deserves a lot more than me sitting here talking about music. Anyway, let's find it. Well, I don't know. I've never heard of music before, but that's a good point. Then again, if I don't like it, I wouldn't even publish the video. So the fact you're seeing this means it's probably going to be a good response. All right, let's get in it. Always honest on this channel. Thank you again to Andy for recommending her to me. She's this very nice opening frame. She's staring right at me, so I feel like I should be careful about. I don't want to say anything bad because she's staring right at me. Let's check out this song, Sweet Girl by Otose Miyu. Otose Miyu. Let's go. Alright. I'm liking the vibe. Okay, didn't expect that to go double time. I recognize where you are. Loving that. That sort of Hammond organ in the background there. Very funky. I'm loving the pop punk vibe of it. Nice chord patterns there. Building up to a chorus. That dramatic moment as the person passed and it was like down. I'm really enjoying that sort of organ over the top there. Oh, the bass is finally freed up a bit. There's kind of something about the... It's got like a pop punk style of writing. It's got a very pop style of vocal and production. It's a really interesting sort of marriage of just all the happiest sounds. Oh, you gotta go to a dive bar, haven't you? The sort of choppy stop-start of the rhythm. Gives it a, yeah, like that. It's kind of like a good sort of head-banging quality, just sort of, again, interspersed in all the pop-punk values. Oh, that's such a pop-punk guitar solo. This is just very charming, you know what I mean? It's kind of like makes you feel good. Feel good. Wow, it's nearly 5 minutes long. You know, actually, I just realized this really reminds me of that was like so charming. So this is definitely feel good music. Let's find a nice frame. There isn't a credits frame, so let's find a nice frame. Where's a nice frame? There we go. This was incredibly charming. So there's a couple of points to take into it. This was actually also not what I expect as well, because when I think about Andy, the guy who recommended this artist, he's someone who I usually think of as being into sort of like the how to say, the more intensively guitar sort of things. Not twiddly, but I don't often think of him as just being a sort of person who's into something like this, which is just sort of straight fun pop punk. But boy, oh boy, this was a ton of fun. And I feel, if anything, this probably more would normally appeal to what I would expect to be my taste than his. But this was cheerful. This really reminded me, though, a lot of kind of like early 2000s J-pop rock. And I don't mean that as an insult, I mean that as a compliment, because this reminds me of a lot of those older artists back then who were kind of doing everything from whether it be Shimikawa Mikuni, Puffy were a big example of this, especially with like the Just Bring It album. Yeah, kind of a lot of music around there. There's a couple other names I want to mention. There's a couple of names I want to mention, but they also did a lot of different styles of music, so it might be misleading. Anyway, there was a lot of this kind of music around about the early 2000s where you had like the electric organ in there sort of doing all funky things, and then like a pop punk, somewhere between pop punk and roll kind of background there, and it was sort of charging along. And the reason I thought of that was because this song's nearly 5 minutes, which a lot of those songs were a bit longer. You know, songs nowadays, a lot of these songs tend to be a bit more concise, but this was much more about just letting it play out and letting it sort of like roll on like this nice long party anthem that just keeps on going for a while. Yeah, just had that kind of old school charm to it, and this is definitely how this kind of got an old school charm to it that I really enjoy. I think her voice was lovely, and she's got a nice light poppy voice, but she sings it with a great sort of command and control. She sounds kind of like she's conveying the sense of joy and energy that's really infectious, comes across and just sort of really grabs you. I like that aspect to it. This was just a charm offensive, and on that aspect I really loved it. Again, there was some nice little there was some little rhythmic things happening within the arrangement, like these little occasional skipped beats on the drum and things like that. It just kind of gave it a little bit of funk as well, stopped it just being a sort of a charging 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. It had its little occasional headbanging da 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 da, sort of little headbang moments in there. So for me, this had just about the right amount to keep it going. I'm always honest on this channel, so I will point out a couple of things. I gotta be honest, for me, the biggest thing that if I were to change one thing, I really wanted to free up the bass. I know this is a pet peeve that I come back to with a lot of artists, but especially in this kind of music, a lot of these songs from the past, the bass would tend to be very active, which would kind of counter the fact that the song itself is more straightforward. I felt the bass spent a lot of the time here locked to the key. So I really wish the bass was... There were some moments when the bass was really interesting as well, but it spent a lot of time just sort of like following the chord pattern, which I think, yeah, I feel like... If you reference a lot of the artists who this sounds like, they tended to be a little bit more adventurous with the bass line, and that's kind of the one area where I'd really love to free the bass up a bit more, give this a little bit more motion. Luckily, the organ was doing a lot, which kind of kept things sounding active. So that kind of countered it a bit, but if we'd had the organ being playful and the bass being playful, and that guitar sort of delivering that central shrugging thing, I think that would have elevated it even further. But putting that just aside, yeah, this is just super charming. It is effective. It definitely is a song that makes you feel good. Coming in, I've said this about a few songs recently. Coming into the summer, this is exactly the kind of music you should be releasing because this is just like charming. I can imagine, when it gets really hot and I'm really dead on energy, this is going to be something that's going to come on. I'm going to put it on, and I'm just going to be alive with joy. I'm going to be smiling from ear to ear. So, is this on this album? After all of that, I just had a look. It's not on this album. Wrong album. This is newer. That's how long this has been in my outbox. So this is the previous one. This to me, really charming. I definitely would check out more. Also like the fact that it was well produced as well. So everything was clear. You could really hear everything happening in the music. Which is, again, why there's more room for the bass. Do more with the bass, definitely. But love the organ bits. Her vocals were really cool. Again, I know some people are not into more poppy-sounding vocals, but I think doing a poppy-sounding vocal is a real skill. Because you've got to be clear. You've got to convey a sense of emotion, but not so much that it's overpowering the sense of melody that has to lead. So, again, it's about balancing clarity with just the right amount of emotion, not too melodramatic, but with a sense of just that right amount of joy to get people really hyped up. And also you've got to have a sort of sharp rhythmic sense to do more poppy music as well. So for me, I think that her vocals really were a lovely centerpiece to this. Great stuff. Video is very Tokyo. The bit where she's walking around, I think it was like Ginza she was walking around, it's a really expensive shopping district. I was like, I can't even afford to stand on that street. If I stand on that street, they'll just arrest me. They'll be like, you're too poor to stand here, get off. Anyway, this was a joy. This was really lovely. Thank you so much, Andy, for sharing this. Please go subscribe to her. Give her a few more subs. Pump up her profile. She's doing a great job. She's putting a lot of effort into making really high quality music, and this is the kind of person who, let's go support. Anyway, thank you so much. As always, get in the comments below. Tell me what you think, and until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one, at least. For now, ciao, ciao.